Hi, my name's Craig Brown, and I'm recording this reflection on reading. And in particular, I'm going to try to relate it to secondary art class. So, the process of reading is basically word recognition, reading comprehension. So, do I recognize what this word means? Do I understand what this passage says? And then fluency, which is like the coordination of those two things. Can I do this efficiently enough to make it practical for day to day application? Can I actually do these things in a way that's going to allow me to access the knowledge that I need quickly and efficiently? So, uh, how do we actually go about teaching that? In terms of word recognition, you can teach morphology, looking at affixes and prefixes and root words. And that can be especially useful in a secondary art class because a lot of the terminology comes from other languages, but it comes from Romance languages. So you have the it preserves a lot of the root words from Latin and Greek that you would have in words that could be related to that in English. And then the second is context. So we're already teaching for reading comprehension through reading passages, through um, metacognitive talk, while we are reading through a variety of different means. And so when we can arrive at the meaning of a sentence, but we just have a word that we don't recognize, often the meaning can be inferred. And that's a good first step before actually just handing somebody the meaning of the word. Because this method of auto correcting or auto, evaluating as you're reading is an important skill that all students with a high level of disciplinary literacy show. So it's something that we want to encourage in students. Um, in terms of teaching for reading comprehension, for reading comprehension, we will engage in lots of reading. We'll engage in metacognitive talk about that reading. We're going to have the application of principles from the written text into the work that we're doing. We're going to be looking at, what are the big ideas, summarizing, analyzing, skimming, all of the basic things that you would do. I think what's interesting here would be more the differentiation for the ELLs and for people with some difficulties reading, because here we we're trying to preserve the meaning of what is written and make sure that they can arrive at that through the original text. And so there are a few techniques like chunking and other ways that we can reduce the burden for students with reading difficulties or ELLs, but still give them the original text and allow them to arrive at their own conception of the meaning of what that is. Another way is to leverage the English language learners' home language in class to help them with both word recognition and reading comprehension. Now, this could be done with, um, allowing them to use dictionaries, multi-language dictionaries, have a glossary of terms, looking at cognates, where the word is very similar in the two different languages, and allowing for a certain amount of in discussion and analysis of uh, working in the L1 before transitioning over into L2. So, in order to achieve a more effective reading comprehension, uh, you need to have well developed linguistic abilities, but it also requires analytical abilities as well. So, it's not simply learning what all of the words mean individually in a passage. You have to be able to apply mental processes to this piece of text to be able to make meaning out of it. Um, and as I had mentioned previously, uh, you need to, when that doesn't work, when you fail in creating meaning, or you fail in understanding the individual components, but you understand the overall meaning, then it's important to be able to go back and self-correct at that point. You can leverage what you do know about the passage or the word in order to understand the aspects that you don't know. Um, and so that's comes naturally to some people and it comes less naturally to others. And so it needs to be something which is taught explicitly. So, in terms of what we can do to support comprehension, reading comprehension for ELLs and for those with reading difficulties, a lot of it is again breaking it down into its component parts so that they can focus on the skill that we're learning. So, we might do that through chunking or through providing a glossary or potentially even audio supplement to the text itself. And all of those things can help reduce the burden of doing everything all at once, which, given that as ELLs and those with difficulties learning have to do so much more than the average student when encountering a text, it the best thing we can do for them is to reduce that kind of cognitive load so they can focus on the skill that we're actually teaching.